Hello everybody, Jocelyn here, and well, I've been a little bit away for a while, as you might have noticed by my lack of video posting last week. A lot's been going on. I want to briefly sort of explain why. So I've been working on a script that's, for the first time, I've actually have to do a second draft because it's fairly complicated and in-depth and everything. So that's one reason. The other thing is my mental health has been a bit um so because of that I I bought a Switch, a Nintendo Switch, and that's been taking up a lot of my time lately because obviously I just want to play with my new toy, and it's it's been pretty essential for taking me out of my own head. We'll just put it that way. And also, I'm just kind of lazy. So that's why that script is taking a little longer than I previously anticipated or would have liked, but it's getting there. Also, you might be wondering why I am wearing underwear, essentially. It's this thing that I heard about called, and I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing this correctly, clickbait? Clickbait? I don't know. It's a thing that I've heard can get more views. So that's what I'm trying. Okay, so let's get on with the video proper and talk about something that didn't in fact happen to me. It happened to a very close friend of mine. So this happened at work, at his new sort of workplace. Basically, someone made comments that were inappropriate and offensive for many reasons. Because what they said essentially boils down to, as a gay man, my friend will not be happy and he will grow alone and be, he will grow old alone and miserable because he won't have children. And also, in the same breath, that perving on women is okay because their only purpose is to have his babies and procreate and... Ugh. So, my friend was obviously a bit upset by this. He brought the remarks to my attention. He needed someone to vent to, really. And I've sort of boiled down why that sort of thing is not okay. Now, it should be sort of obvious to everyone, but I feel like having it said in plain words is useful. So, firstly, look, it just is not true. Having children does not automatically equate happiness. It is not something that should be done just because the norms of society expect or dictate that all adults procreate. Having children means so much more than selfishly trying to satisfy one's own need for company. And that is a pretty disgusting attitude, and that alone is probably likely to drive away any grown offspring, you know, because people don't like to feel used by anyone, especially by their parents. Parenting is about selflessly giving. It's far better to recognize that he would be an unfit parent and not have children than to have them and then later resent them for preventing him from having the life that he would want to have. And this is why it affected me so much, because I feel exactly the same. I have no designs or interests in having children, not through procreation or through things like adoption or anything like that. I'm just not in a position to do so, and even if I was, I just don't think I could be a very good parent. Like, I can barely keep a plant alive, you know? Secondly, it's just, again, it's wrong, because this assumption that as a gay individual, he can't have children, that's just outdated and false. Plenty of gay and lesbian people are excellent parents, and there's an increasing number of straight people who realize that they don't necessarily have to go down the, you know, babies route and are childless by choice. And his sexuality and my sexuality don't really play a part in that decision to not have children. Not to mention that heterosexuals aren't guaranteed to make good parents. Just think of the incalculable amounts of children who have been abused by their heterosexual parents. Thirdly, he shouldn't have to justify his life choices to this coworker or to anyone, provided that those choices don't directly harm anybody else. Or even indirectly, really. Like, indirect harm is still terrible. And this sort of discriminatory judgment is not appreciated, it's not welcomed, and it's not acceptable. Especially coming from someone who has misogynist views that include paying attention to the supervisor just because she has big breasts, or just because a woman can carry a baby, that is her sole purpose, or that it's okay to treat women as sex objects, or that they are lesser than men and should be subjugated by men. And of course, I'm just talking about cis women here. Don't even get me started on the whole. Okay? But seriously, doesn't this chud realize that it takes incredible strength to be pregnant, to grow a human inside, and then have to go through the agony of childbirth as well? Like, a strength that he will never know, apparently. Because, you know, with this wonderful attitude of women should serve him, you can tell how many are flocking at his door, just waiting to be impregnated and barefoot. This guy gives off serious incel vibes, okay? I've never met him personally, I just, from what my friend has told me. Fourthly, he shouldn't have had to feel pressured into revealing his sexuality. It's like at work or anywhere. Like, it's not this coworker's business. It's not anybody else's business, really. But it's not this guy's business whether or not my friend has children. Like, this sort of reeks of homophobia as well as sexism, because ever since, you know, my friend came out at work, he noticed that the coworker in question is paying less attention to him, barely acknowledges him. Like, it's not like he has to be buddy buddies or anything like that, but just a basic, like, everyone should get just a basic level of professional respect from co-workers. You know, they are... I'm not at liberty to say what the job is, but they are working, you know, closely where communication is sort of a factor, right? And supervisors come along and change job roles about 3 times a day. It's like, you go over there, you go over there, da-da-da, you put this on here, you put... And, like, that requires communication. That requires a level of cohesion that's just being shut down completely by this asshole coworker who isn't paying attention to my friend, even when it's about work-related stuff. And lastly, the final point to address here is that these views, the homophobia, the sexism, the prejudice, you know, they seem to be the product of cultural upbringing. You know, forget the trans thing just for a moment. Like, gay people are still treated terribly and villainized in these countries, and people who come from that sort of background might have internalized those messages, but that's still no excuse to be a shit human being. I want to finish with a statement that my friend himself said. Like, this is his own words. He said, proper men should be respectful to the women they expect to carry their progeny, and anyone who doesn't realise this doesn't deserve to have children. I couldn't agree with that more. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below and all that stuff. The freaking stuff and the thing and the engagement and booster rate and stuff and things and stuff. Yeah. All the good YouTubey things that YouTube wants you to do, because YouTube's... I can't do that seriously because I fucking hate it. I fucking hate it. I really... Anyway, I'm going to go back to playing on my Switch because that's a lot more fun than dealing with real life stuff. And yeah, the other script is, you know, I'll get that done at some point soon, and then start filming and recording and editing. See you soon. Haven't done this in a while. Good stuff, good stuff. Oh shit. Usual outro. Non-binary is valid, goddammit. So are childless homosexual people, childless heterosexual people, parents who are gay or lesbian or any other sexuality, who are good parents, you know, heterosexual parents who are nice and not abusive, all valid. But not ignorant asshole co-workers. They're not valid. My... have them... then later resent them for preventing... Oh, shit. Okay, so, let's get on... I work. I haven't worked in months. cut that out.